Hi everybody, welcome back to the Eastfield Gunroom YouTube channel. Something really different today. What we've got is I had a customer contact me and they said, look, really struggling with the weight of my over and under. I could do with something lighter, but I don't want anything that's got any recoil. What would you recommend? And I thought, well, first of all, we're just shooting clays and shooting pigeons and stuff. I would absolutely consider an auto. So I thought what I would do today is I would show you what I believe to be probably the best, certainly best value in terms of reliability, specification, etc. New semi-auto, we don't normally do new guns on here, which is currently available today. And this is the Beretta A400 Lite. So in terms of autos, there's two kinds of autos. You've got gas operated autos and you've got inertia operated autos. In my opinion, okay, this is not fact, this is just what I believe. If you want a gas operated auto, Beretta are the best. They've been doing it for years. They know exactly what they're doing. They are regarded worldwide as an absolutely top draw in terms of reliability semi-auto. This is their one of their latest offerings. This is the A400 Lite. Now this is the, I'll get out of the box in a second, it's the A400 action, so it's kind of like the successor to the 300. And what it does is it combines all the modern technology with, again, the reliability you would expect from Beretta, certainly in an auto. So the A400 Lite, as the name suggests, isn't very heavy. It comes in at just over 6.5 pounds. Now, with a conventional over and under, if you had a 12 bore that weighed 6.5 pounds, the biggest problem you would have is recoil. Without sounding too basic and too layman's, with a gas semi-auto, the gas from the cartridge is ported, and what that does is it cycles the action and it reduces the recoil. So that's why they're really, really popular with wildfowlers and pigeon shooters, because you can put big heavy loads through them and you feel very, very little recoil whatsoever. And that is if it's an auto in its standard form. So other guns these days you tend to find have got recoil reduction systems in them further, and I'm going to talk to you about the particular one that's on this Beretta. Like I said, if you've got a gun that's very light, then because of the physics of the thing, you're going to get more recoil. So what Beretta have done here is incredibly clever. What they've done is they've come up with a super lightweight semi-auto, weighs 6.5 pounds. Gas operated, doesn't recoil anyway. And what they've also added, they've added more recoil reduction here in terms of their Kickoff system. Now, the original Kickoff system, which came out on the 391 Extrema, we've got 2001 or 2, something like that, was at the back of the stock. And what it did, it was like a hydraulic compression system kind of thing, or what it did, it just moved with the gun and it soaked up the recoil. The only thing with that is that it essentially gave you quite a short stock with a big boot on the end. So if you didn't like it, you took it off, you end up with a really short stock. Now what's happened is Beretta have moved on from there, and then the latest Kickoff, as you can see here, actually sits between the pistol grip and the back of the stock. Clever stuff. Now I've shot one of the A400 ATS camo semi-autos that Beretta produced for the wildfowlers, a big 3.5 inch bad boy, and the recoil is negligible with cartridge up to in excess of 50 grams. So clever stuff. I'll put the barrel on. Now these are available in 20 gauge and 12 gauge. This is a 12 gauge, obviously a 20 gauge light. I think it comes in at about £5, 10 or 11 ounces, so super light. It's got a rotating bolt head. Okay. 3-inch chambers as standard. Again, you wouldn't want something that, you know, if you had something that was this light with a 3.5 inch, it would be kind of, you know, defeating the object to a point. So 3-inch as a maximum, absolutely fine. We'll just get the barrel out. So in here we've got the barrel. There's box fresh. Matte finish. And if you look in here, you've got the piston. Okay, which goes in the piston cup, like off the Cars film. That is what ports the gas. You've got little holes in the top of the barrel here, so the gas flows up the barrel and then pushes the piston back and cycles the action. Very clever. Pioneers of the gas auto, I would have to check, to be fair. It's probably Remington or Winchester. It's not Beretta, but the Berettas are really good. Okay, so just slot the barrel on like that. The fore end goes over the top. Okay, they can be a little bit tight because obviously it's plastic and it moves a little bit. Fore end cap with a little hole in to put a sling swivel on so you can carry it around. Drop the carrier back, pull the bolt back. Synthetic stock, so I mean, this is the thing with semi-autos is, yes, it's nice to have a gun that looks like a gun, you know, nice walnut, whatever, but you got to keep it practical. And the thing with these modern semi-autos, plastic, all-weather grips, this kind of stuff, they're just brilliant. You can put it down in a hide, you can chuck it on the floor, and when you get home at the end of the day and you want to clean it, you get a soapy sponge out and give it a wipe. High performance steel shot proof, as you would expect, because it's 2023, and Optima HP chokes. Flush chokes on this one. Obviously, if you want to put extended ones on, you can do, not a problem. It's the choking system that is important at the end of the day, regardless of what choke you put in it. This is a 3-shot, also available as a section 1, which in the UK is 4+1, which is a 5-shot. And it's just a great bit of kit. These are supremely reliable. If you speak to most shooters about gas semi-autos, the number one choice will always be Beretta, and for me it's exactly the same. There are many semi-auto manufacturers out there. You've got Turkish ones like ATA and Hatsan, and you've got Italian ones like Fabarm, Franchi, etc. But for me, it would always come down to reliability, durability, strength from a gas-operated auto point of view. Now, with a gas-operated auto, what you remember is you've got to clean the thing. So eventually it will get that full of carbon deposits and residue from being fired that you will have to clean it. Whereas with an inertia one, you don't have to, because there are no internals that will get clogged up with crud, because it works on kinetic energy. We'll perhaps look at an inertia semi-auto like a Benelli in a few videos time. Again, we've talked about the Kickoff. This has got not a micro, this is their new ultralight recoil pad from Beretta, which, as you'd expect, is ultralight. But you also get a spacer. Now, for people that don't know about semi-autos, this is the real clever bit. So you might be sat there thinking, well, if I buy an over and under and it's too short, I can lengthen the stock, or if it's too low, I can put adjustable comb in it. What do I do with an auto? Good you asked. Because what you have in here, along with the chokes, is you've got a little set of shims. Now, what the shims do, what they are, is they're little plastic wedges. And what they do is they sit between the back of the action, okay, and the start and the head of the stock. So depending on the thickness and the angle of the shim, you can actually cast and drop the stock accordingly. So if you wanted to go higher, then you put a piece of plastic in which pushes the stock higher. It's more technical than that in the book. They've actually got numbers on for drops in millimeters. It's not just about, you know, how thick it is and how thin it is. Likewise, if you wanted to cast the stock for a right-handed shooter, put a bit more cast on, you would put a different shim in it again. And it's a real clever system. So for argument's sake, if I had to pick that shotgun up and mount it, obviously it's too short for me, but it's miles too low. You know, I can't see, I couldn't shoot that. So I would have to raise the stock. So what I would do is I'd go into my little bag of tricks, and I'd find the shim that pushes it up to the highest, you know, the highest millimeter. So if we've got something like 55mm standard, I'd want 45 or 50. Take the stock off, I think it's a 10mm socket, put the shim on, put the spacer plate back on, put it back on, and away you go. And then I can shoot it. In terms of operation, again, I'm sure people watching this video know how a semi-auto works, but I'm going to show you anyway, because it's the first one we've done on the channel. There may be people that don't know how they work. What you do is you pull the bolt back, you put one cartridge in, push that, and then two underneath, and it's literally as simple as that. Bang, 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 and on the ejection of the third cartridge, it will automatically lock back, and then you know it's safe. It's a lovely, handy bit of kit. Like I said, someone got in touch with me, a customer got in touch with me, and they said, I've got this problem, what would you recommend? And now, hopefully with the addition of this series collection, he's going to be able to carry on shooting for maybe another 4, 5, 6 years, whatever, just because we've found a lighter gun that's very low recoil, that's very manageable, and also, like I said, completely weatherproof, matte finish barrels. And that's another case in point. A lot of semi-autos these days, matte finish barrels. You go back 30 years plus, maybe 40 years, to one of my favourite semi-autos in particular, which is the Beretta 303, which is coming soon, to stay tuned. And it was all gloss. These days, it's all about, we don't want the pigeons to see us, so it's got to be non-glare, or we don't want the ducks to realise we're actually sat here in the marsh. And it's all about, I use the word technology, but but it's all about thinking about what the shooter wants, and Beretta in particular, huge in R&D, and you can usually guarantee that when something comes to market by Beretta, they've got it absolutely right. They've thought of everything, you know, regardless of what the application is, what the gun is. If you want a semi-auto that'll do everything, definitely consider the A400 Lite, because it won't break the bank. It comes with a standard 3-year Beretta warranty, multi-choke, steel shot proof. Like I said, chuck it on the floor, take it home, wipe it over with a sponge and it's clean. Very little maintenance, supremely reliable, will work with most cartridges. Just bear in mind another point with semi-autos across the board. If you have a semi-auto, a gas operated one, it will highly unlikely cycle very light loads, and particularly shorter brass, i.e. 65mm cartridges. My recommendation will always be for 70mm cartridges and 24 grams and above. Beretta A400 Lite, the first semi-auto we've done here on Eastfield Gunroom YouTube channel. If you want to see some more semi-auto, get in touch, tell us what you want to see. We will see what we can do. Don't forget to keep liking the channel, keep subscribing. Remember those request reviews, regardless of what it is, send it in. If we can find it, we can bring it to you, and we will do our utmost to do that. And also, don't forget to check out the website, which is now live. There's quite a lot of stuff on there you might want to look at. Thanks for watching. See you soon.